The Case of Professor Abash, Part 1, Setup. The map is a set of moral accountability principles that help us determine whether we're holding people accountable in a moral way. I call it the map because the principles help us walk through a series of questions, 10 of them that we can use to analyze cases. So we're going to walk through a bunch of cases in class, but that's going to be a lot easier if you watch me walk through one first. So here goes. Let's start by just reading the case. Professor Abash designs his course to include a single case write-up that counts as 100% of the final letter grade. The honor code is very clear that students aren't allowed to rely on solutions provided by others. However, Professor Abash has taught the case in class in the 2 prior years. Brad gets hold of the solution the professor included in a handout and shares it with Carla and Dave. Brad and Carla use the solution to complete the assignment. Dave does not. And after the submission deadline, tells the professor that Brad gave the solution to him and Carla. Once the cases are being graded, the professor finds evidence suggesting that Brad and Carla did indeed rely on the prior solution. Along with Dave's testimony, the evidence is persuasive enough that an academic integrity hearing would result in sanctions. Without Brad's warning, Professor Abash probably wouldn't have found the evidence. Even if he had, it probably wouldn't have been enough to justify sanctions. Okay, now we're going to go on a long journey that will lead us to answer. For each party that was named in bold, how should they be held accountable in a moral way? So yes, we'll make some moral judgments about Professor Abash, Brad, Carla, and Dave, but the map really puts the focus on us. How do we hold them morally accountable in a way that makes us moral? Before I walk you through how I apply the map, let me highlight one conclusion it led me to. Professor Abash pretty much encouraged his students to cheat, and then predictably they cheated. But that doesn't soften how much we should punish them for cheating. In fact, I end up thinking we should punish the students a lot more severely than Professor Abash. I think this is the right call, but you might disagree. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. Maybe you disagree with how I applied the map, in which case we have to figure out, do we just have differences in values or other disagreements that really aren't debatable? Or did I just not apply enough virtue and knowledge? I should have worked harder and more carefully. Alternatively, the map's principles aren't quite right, or some important ones are missing. This map approach is new, and I still have a lot to learn, so please don't hesitate to disagree. But maybe we actually pretty much agree, and the problem isn't with my analysis or the map, but with the way the world is now. So you should also be thinking, as we walk through this case, how would you improve the accountability systems that are already in place?